Do you think you have good communication skills? But despite having those good communication skills, you struggle to start a conversation with people in social settings, be it office, be it a party such as a wedding or a birthday party, etc. In case this is your problem, then ladies and gentlemen, my name is Radhan and I welcome you to today's session. Because in this video, we're going to be talking about how you can start a conversation in English confidently with anybody at any point in time. So let's get started with situation number one. S1 here stands for situation one, and situation one is office. A lot of times you may have a good day or a bad day at office, and you'd want to start a conversation with somebody, but you struggle to pick the right sentences and the right ways to start it. And in those situations, you predominantly tend to be quiet. But let's kill that particular habit and let's start with the first sentence today, and that is, it's a very simple sentence. You could just say, "Hi James, hi Rahul, hi Abdul, how are you doing?" So in case you want to start a conversation, one of the most basic things that you can do is ask them how they are. That could be number one. Sentence number two could be, "How's your day going?" Instead of asking how they are, you could possibly ask how their day is coming along. They could have had a bad day or a good day. You want to start a conversation with them. You have a particular agenda in your mind. It's not a good idea to start the conversation exactly with the topic that you want to talk about. It's also a good idea to basically give it a bit of a starter. And in that situation, asking them how their day has been so far can be a good way to begin. Third can be, we are sure having a busy or slow day today. Well, depending on the type of day that there is, you're basically affirming it to the person and saying to them, "Hey, don't you think we are sure having a busy day today?" Or, "Hey, don't you think we are sure having a very slow day today?" That means there isn't much to do. So you want to start a conversation. In that situation, you can use this particular conversation starter. The next sentence is, have you heard the news about? A lot of times, different things keep on happening at work. So when you want to start a conversation, you could ask your colleague about a particular news that they may have heard of or they may not have heard of. And you can basically insert the situation here and you can say, "Have you heard about the news about Jenny leaving the office?" Basically, anything can be fit here. The next one is, have you got any plans for the weekend? Imagine it is Friday and the situation seems to be getting quite awkward because it's only you and your colleague in the whole room. And instead of being quiet, you ask the question. You say, "So, it's Friday today. Have you got any plans for the weekend?" The next one and the final one is, how was your weekend? Now, the weekend got over and you're meeting your colleague on Monday. In that situation, you can say, "So, how was your weekend? All good?" Let us quickly move ahead to the second situation for the day, and that is with a friend. Now, a lot of people may ask and say that with a friend, you don't really need a conversation starter. It's very casual, but not always. There are some of the situations and sentences that I've brought to you here that you can use when you want to start a conversation with a friend. For example, number one is, "Hi Sasha, how have you been?" With this particular question, you're basically asking them, from the last time that you met her to this time, how has she been all this while? Has she been good, bad, etc.? Next, you can say, "Long time no see." If you're meeting a friend after a long time, for example, I'm meeting a friend tomorrow. His name is Mohit. So I'm going to ask Mohit, "Long time no see." It's not so much as asking, it's more like affirming the fact, basically giving the conversation a starter. Long time no see. That means it's been a long time that I saw you. It's basically affirming the fact. The next can be, "So what have you been up to lately?" The phrase here, "been up to lately," means in the days that have gone by, what have you been doing? What are the things going on in your life? Work life, professional life, etc. Any highlights of your life. The next can be, "How's your family?" Very sweet when somebody checks on you and your family as well. If you're close with a friend, you could simply say, "How's your family? How have they been? I know that you're all right, but how about your family?" The next one can be, Are you still working at ABC company? ABC can be inserted here with any brand or company that your friend has been working for. So to start a conversation with a friend, or there is a bit of silence, you could just simply raise this question and say, are you still working with the LearnX Academy that you were working for before? So like this, you can ask the question. The next and the third situation is party or wedding. This is one of my favorite ones. Has it ever happened to you that you like someone? Yeah, you like someone's dress, you want to start a conversation with them, and possibly you're standing, you're having a coffee, or you're having food, but you do not know how to start a conversation. You can use these starters to begin the conversation with them and make the environment easy for everyone. The first is, I don't think we've met. I'm Radhan. A lot of times, it's not basically the fluency of English that hampers conversation. It's somebody's confidence. It looks very simple, but it's extremely powerful. If you want to start a conversation with somebody, especially at a party or wedding, you could ask this, you could say this sentence, that is, I don't think we've met. I'm Radhan. The next is, are you from Mumbai? It's always a great idea to basically check on people. You could start a conversation with them by asking that, I think I've seen you somewhere. Are you from Mumbai? It's not as personal as some people may think, but it is quite general and gives a bit of a springboard for the conversation to start. So, how do you know Shania? Maybe it is Shania's wedding and you're standing with a boy or a girl and you're just watching the couple up on the stage, and you look at this person, there's a moment of silence and awkwardness. So you just look at the person and say, hey, so how do you know Shania? Basically beginning the conversation then. This person could be from the groom's side or the bride's side. So you're hitting the conversation with a sweet, basically, starter. The next one is, have you tried the chocolate cake? It's delicious. I'm not kidding, this really happened with me once. I was having, there were different varieties of cake, and I was having one cake, and there walked a lady, and she said, hi, have you tried the pineapple cake? It's delicious. And there you go. She turned out to be a great friend later, down the years. It's a beautiful conversation starter. The next situation 4 is with a stranger. Although we've spoken about strangers in previous situations before, but I'd like to draw your attention once again. Imagine if it is not a party or if it is not a wedding, how do you start a conversation with a complete stranger? Let us look at a set of starters on this slide. Number 1, it's a beautiful day, isn't it? It's just simply very nice to say, it's a beautiful day, isn't it? Just to let you know, it is a question tag, which basically means you have the situation here and you're confirming the situation using the question tag here. So you're not asking the question, interrogating, but it's more like you're confirming the information and hitting the conversation at the same time. The next is, it looks like it's going to rain or snow. In this particular conversation starter, the climate is the focus. So making the climate, the weather, the focus, you're asking or you're affirming, you're hitting the first sentence of the conversation and saying, it looks like it's going to rain, isn't it? So this is something that can be used with a stranger. The next one is, can you believe all this rain we've been having? Imagine if there's a lot of blistering, if there's a lot of rain that's going on in the city, it's monsoon season, or even if it is not monsoon, you make the weather the focus of the conversation and you say, my God, can you believe all of this rain happening? And there you go. You've got a conversation starting immediately after that. Another thing that I'd like to point out here is, it's not that we have to start a conversation with them. Sometimes people may be in rush and therefore they do not have time to continue the conversation. What we are trying to emphasize in this particular lesson is understanding various different types of sentences and situations in which we can make use of these particular sentence structures to give you a bit of a backbone in order to feel confident when you want to start a conversation. The next is, your dog is so cute. What is his name? Imagine you're at a park and a man and his dog are taking a stroll around. If you want to start a conversation, you could just simply compliment the dog by saying how cute their dog is, and there you go, a situation's begun. The last one is social setting. Now, one interesting thing is always make a conversation about the current social context, which basically means your starting of the conversation should be based around the situation that you're a part of, because it makes the conversation starter looks a little more natural. For example, if it's evident that the climate is really bad, the weather is really bad, so the conversation starter can be in context to the weather and not something that is related to such as a politician or something. Yeah? So let's look at some of the conversation starters for social settings. The first one is at a playground. Imagine there are two opponents. You are from one team and there's another person standing beside you who is from another different team. So you start a conversation with them and you say, my friends are always full on energy. Well, in this situation, you're basically trying to hit the conversation by talking about your team. And there you go, a conversation has begun. Next is at a cafe. Now, it can be very difficult for some people, but imagine if you're alone and there's another person who's alone at a cafe and you just simply want to naturally give a conversation a start. You could say, I loved your jumper, where did you get it from? Some people may as well feel slightly uncomfortable, but the whole idea is, in social settings, not just with a stranger, you could use these sentences with a lot of people who are there at a party, but you've not spoken to everybody yet. So, in such situations, with one of the people who are there and you really liked their jumper, which basically means a sweater, you compliment it and you've got a conversation started. So you are the one who's taking the lead. You are the one who's making sure that the conversation is confident and at the same time, basically the situation becomes comfortable for people. So one of the ways in which you can start a conversation is complimenting people's clothes. The next one is at an event. Although we've spoken about various different types of events in this particular video, but there is one such conversation starter. What a great turnout. Have you ever been here before? It could be such as a tournament, or it could be, for example, a competition where you're seated with a stranger. So, you're doing the booing and the ha-ha, you're basically enjoying the show. In that case, you can start the conversation with the person who's seated beside you, and you can say, what a great turnout, which basically means we did not expect that this will happen during the competition or the tournament. Have you ever been here before? Have you come here before? And there you go. At this event, the conversations began. And the last three situations that we have are at a bar. Honestly confess your hand. How many of you have been to a bar and you've never, ever been able to start a conversation with a stranger? It's happened to me, genuinely. But what can you do? Can you do in such situations? You could just simply start by complimenting the music. Isn't it right with the first advice that we delivered, which is making sure that you compliment in relation to the social setting that there is. So at a bar, there's music going on in the background always. You can start the conversation by complimenting the music. That's a great song. I love Latin music or any other music that there is in the background. How about you? The person will say yes or no, and you might as well not realize that a great friendship has begun. At an art gallery. Now, to be honest, I've not been to an art gallery, but there are different types of exhibitions that keep on taking place, and people do go to such places. And if you're one of those people, you can use this starter with a stranger or a friend or anybody for that matter. What an interesting art. What do you think about it? A lot of times when people are a part of an exhibition, they often observe things such as a sculpture or a painting, and there are many people around them as well. So you could just take people's perspective, start talking to them instead of being, the quiet bird like all the other ones in the room. And you could just say, what an interesting art, isn't it? So you could just simply start the conversation by focusing on the social context, which is the art. And the last one for the lesson is compliment. We've spoken about the jumper one before, but here is this one. I love the color of your shirt. What is it called? Now you may think, Radhan, how difficult is it to find the color of the shirt, basically? But there are different types of colors actually, and you may not know, such as, more often than not, there are clothes that have very unique colors. For example, color. For example, one of the colors that I got to know recently was a bottle green color, and I didn't know that it's called bottle green. And therefore, you could just compliment the person on the color of their garment and basically ask them, what color is that called? And the situations began. So this was all about different types of conversation starters that you can make use of whilst you're participating in a conversation, or you want to hit a conversation, but you feel very underconfident, very timid. Use these conversation starters and make your life easy. Have a great day.